Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notifications button, and if at the end of the video you want to hit the dislike button, everyone, please just leave me a comment. Tell me what's good, what's bad, what you want me to improve. I'd really appreciate the feedback. Anyway, going back, as I've said earlier in the video yesterday, Daybreak Dames have got some of the cards up from the Commander decks on MTGO now, and it's time to start looking at some of them. And today's one is interesting because it's Goro-Goro and Satoru. Blue, black and red for a 3/4 goblin human. Um, and whenever one or more creatures you control that enter the battlefield this turn deal combat damage to a player, you get 5/5 dragon spirit creature token with flying. And then 1 and a red, creatures you control gain haste until the end of turn. Different. Now, a couple of things to point out here. Doesn't matter how many creatures enter the battlefield and deal combat damage, you're only going to get 1 dragon, unless they've got double strike, in which case you do get 2. But otherwise you just end up with 1. But we want to get that 1 every turn that we can. So, and you know, Satoru's ninjutsu, Goro-Goro's kind of hasty goblins. So I've melded the deck together, and this is what today's deck looks like. As usual, let's kick off. Whoops. Once I get my thing out of the way. There we go. Made it a bit too big when I was looking at something else. There we go. Right. Kick off with the land base as usual. Blue, black and red lands everywhere. Fabled Passage, Field of the Dead. Luxury Suite. All the expected ones are in here. Again, Urborg Tome of Yawgmoth is in here. It's an expensive card. If you want to keep the deck cheaper, swap this out for something else. I've got Terramorphic Expanse, Evolving Wilds maybe, something along those lines. If you want to take it out, it's fine. Ramp wise, had to go a bit heavy on this because there's a reason for it. So we've gone with Mox Tantalite Soul Talisman, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Fellwar Stone, and one of each of the paired up talismans just to make the mana a little bit easier to deal with. And the reason we're doing it is we've got really 3 themes running through this deck. We've got from blue unblockable, from red haste, and from black and blue to a certain extent ninjutsu. So I need to make sure we can get things in, and this is the way I've gone with it. Now I'm not saying this is the best way to build this deck, it possibly isn't, but it's going to be a fun way of building it. So starting at the beginning, we've got a few auras as well, which is unusual for my decks when they aren't aura based, but we've got a Gaius form in here. Creature can't be blocked. Whenever a enchanted creature attacks, scry 1. Now, we've got it into not be blocked because we have got creatures that've got haste, and we can put, you know, they're quite cheap. We can put one of them down and drop this on it. It can't be blocked. It does make sure it gets through that turn. But it also comes through for some of the bigger stuff. You know, we could drop this on one of the dragons we get, for example, and make that unblocked. So we're always going to get 5 damage through. So that's why it's here. Miss Cloak Herald is here because it's unblocked. Slither Blade's unblockable. Triton Shore Stalker's unblockable. That's all good. Barbarian class is here to give everything haste. So the creatures that haven't got haste, we want to get this up to level 3 as soon as possible. We're not rolling any dice. So basically we want to have 4 mana available to do this and give everything haste as soon as, well, more than that. 4, 5, 6 mana, so a couple of turns unfortunately, but it's one of the ways to give haste, and enchantments aren't always easy to deal with. Then we've got some of the haste creatures. We've got Firebrand, Fanatical Firebrand, Fervent Champion, Colgan Storm Singer. Just bear in mind you can play this face down and megamorph it for 1 to give one of your big creatures in play haste if you need it to when it comes in. Legion Loyalist is quite nice, you know, because that means you can get through all the tokens that are going to be appearing with some of the Convoke decks. Monastery Swift Spear, Phoenix Chick, Raging Goblin, Torch Courier. All creatures were haste that if they come down and we can get them through because we've got Goro-Goro and Satoru in play, are going to give us the dragon. But the unblockable ones do come into play because, you know, Cloak of Mists also gives a creature unblockable. The reason they're here, we'll get to them shortly, because we've got Elusive Spellfist first, so cast non-creature spells, it gets +1/+0 and can't be blocked. Metron Soldier can't be blocked. It's an old school going back to Destiny. And we've got the background in this deck. Whenever this creature attacks a player, If no opponent has more life than that player this turn, this creature can't be blocked. So it gives you a way of making Goro-Goro and Satoru unblockable. So if you play them, give them haste, you can make them unblockable if you attack the person with the biggest life total. Well, opponent with the biggest life total anyway. Mana drain gives us a little bit of control. And this is the reason we've got so many unblockables in here. Here come the ninjutsu guys. So we've got Skull Snatcher. It's red deck. I'm going to have Dockside in. Sorry. Just, yeah. And also Dragon Tempers, because we are going to be making dragons. So we might as well ping things when dragons come into play. Seems like a plan. Felden's here because of the haste. And the original Goro-Goro, Disciple of Rusishi's here. It gives us a mana sink at the end of the day. But we haven't got any real way of equipping it. So really it's here just to go the red mana, haste. It's a little bit cheaper than doing it on this one. So that's why I went with it. Robber of the Rich has got haste. It's a weird card. You're probably wondering why it's here, but I'm coming to it. Likewise, Demir Infiltrator is quite nice. You can transmute it to go and get something you need, or you could just have a 1/3 that can't be blocked. But the reason we've got Robber of the Rich in here is Silver Fur Master, the next one of the ninjutsu cards, because it pumps all our ninjas and our rogue creatures up by +1/+1. And the ninjutsu abilities cost us 1 less to activate, which could have a big input. I've got Swiftfoot Boots here as well, just to protect Goro-Goro and Satoru until a certain point. So they're here. And we've got Dash. Weren't expecting Dash, were you? Mardu Strike Leader's here. We'll pay the 4 mana for it to come in and attack and hopefully get in and give us a creature token so we've got a blocker. Next ninjutsu card is here with Nashi Moon Sage's Scion. This one I kind of like. Yes, it's expensive ninjutsu cost unless we've got Silver Fur Master in play, but deals combat damage to a player. Exile the top card of each player's library until the end of turn. You may play one of those cards. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than its mana cost. You may get something useful off your opponents. It's worth doing, even if it does cost you a bit of life to do it. Chaos Warp, just to give us a bit of control, bounce something, hopefully. Don't forget, as I've said before, you can target your own creatures with this, or your own permanents, and try and get something better. Jeskai's Will, yeah, mana's helpful. Exiling the cards, we can play them. Again, helpful. Urabrask's Forge is quite good in this deck, because it produces a creature on our turn each turn, and it's got haste. Yes, they're X1s, they've got trample. Now, obviously, the first few turns, you're going to get 1/1, 2/1, 3/1. Probably not going to get through. But when you start getting to 4/1, 5/1, 6/1, yeah, you're going to be getting dragons because there's not many things that can block tramplers that big. So, yeah, unless you're up against something so like a Knight's deck full of first strike, in which case, sorry, you're in trouble. But it's worth trying out anyway. The cheaper version of giving everything haste is here with Hammer of Purphoros. And, yeah, at the end of the day, if we need to sack a land and get a 3/3, that's fine, but also that 3/3 will have haste, so it may give you the attacker you need to get another dragon. Satoru Umezawa is here himself. Whenever you activate ninjutsu ability, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand, the rest on the bottom of any order. This ability triggers only once each turn, but each creature then gets ninjutsu. So it is possible that you've got some of your big stuff in hand, you can't really cast it, and you can ninjutsu it in with Satoru themselves. Lagomos is also here as well, Hand of Hatred. Again, it's just a 1/3 that gives us a creature that comes into play each turn. It's an elemental, it's a 2/1 with trample and haste. And, yeah, it may get you the dragon you need as well. That's what I'm going for. I'm trying to get the dragons out. Next ninjutsu, Mukotai Ambusher. I don't know, my pronunciation is terrible, sorry. Ninjutsu for 1 and a black, and it's got lifelink, a nice way of getting a bit of life to save yourself. Damnation's here to control the board. We've got Gonti in as well, Lord of Luxury. It's a rogue, so it does get the buff from Silver Fur, but the death touch kind of makes the buff irrelevant. But hey, we've got it here anyway. It might be we can nick someone's decent card if they've stacked their library. And Rankle could be a 4/4 in the air, with the Silver Fur Master in play. And then choose any number. Each player discards a card. Each player loses 1 life and draws a card. Each player sacrifices a creature. You're probably going to do the middle one more than anything else with this. But it might be a point where someone's only got 1 creature in play and you can force them to sack something. Keep at it. Atushi, the Blazing Sky, is one of the few other dragons we've got in the deck. We can, when it dies, we either get the treasure tokens or exile the cards. Probably the treasure tokens in this deck. And Ingenious Infiltrator. Whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. It's a really nice way of getting those extra cards in your hand, ready to go on the next turn. Savitri Dragon Masters here, mainly for the +1 ability, I'm going to be honest. To your next turn, creatures you can't attack you or planeswalkers you control unless their controller pays 2 life for each of those creatures. That does slow your people down, and the -7, if we can get that far, ain't too bad either. Destroy all non-dragon creatures, because by the time you get there, hopefully you'll have a few 5/5s kicking around in the air. The -3, we've got a few dragons we might need to go and search out, so yeah, we'll come to it. Solemn Sim, bit more ramp. We've got 5 of each basic land in here, so there's always going to be a target. Ganex, Astral Hunter, enters the battlefield, or another dragon enters the battlefield under our control, we get a treasure token. Hopefully, with the amount of 5/5s we're getting to play, we'll get a whole load of treasure tokens, which will help us cast some of our other cards. Burn Down the House, bit more control, or some devils that may be difficult for people to block if they don't want to take some ping damage. And Urabrask the Hidden, another way of giving everything we control haste. And it also slows down our opponents, because everything they have comes into play tapped, so they'll have to find a way out of it. Fallen Shinobi, another ninja that comes into play, deals combat damage to a player. That player exiles the top 2 cards of their library. Until the end of turn, you may play those cards without paying their mana cost. Again, you may get something useful off them. Kolgan, the Storm's Fury, is in as a big dash creature. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, creatures you control get +1/+0 until the end of turn. And that's all your creatures, not just your dragon creatures. So this being dashed in attacks as a 5/5, along with all the other creatures you'll hopefully got in play to do that extra few points of damage. Ink Eyes, Servant of Oni, is also in. Another ninjutsu thing, but when it deals combat damage to a player, you may put target creature card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, and you can regenerate Ink Eyes. So, as long as you've got 6 mana and you've got Ink Eyes in play, you can damnation to your heart's content. Mikius, the Unhallowed, I've also dropped in. Again, this is a 3-colour deck. I don't like playing cards with sort of like multiple of one colour in their casting cost, and 3 and triple black for a 5/5 is a bit difficult. However, this does have Intimidate, and it also means humans, whenever a human deals damage to you, we get to destroy it, and then whenever other non-human creatures we control get +1/+1, which is nice. Obviously it doesn't help out with Goro and Satoru because it is a human, but and have Undying. So all the things we've got come into play, the dragons, the zombies, the what else we got? Rat ninjas, merfolk, rogues, merfolk. Having them all come back, the soldiers, having them all come back with Undying and a +1/+1 counter on it, seems like a cunning plan to me, and I think it's quite a nice little include in here. We've also got the big version of a Colligan in here in its Dragon Lord form. Flying and haste, and all the creatures we control have haste, so another way of giving everything haste. No one's going to opponent cast a creature or planeswalker spell with the same name as one in their graveyard, unless they're playing something weird like the Cleric deck, where you sacrifice the clerics to go and find demons, or you've got the Advisors deck, where you can just play multiple of the Advisors to mill someone out. So it gives you a little bit of defense against that, but it's really the first 2 abilities, flying, haste, and everything else getting haste is what we've got it here for. The final card in today's deck, Blasphemous Act, just to control the board again. I think, Goro-Goro and Satoru is an interesting card. I'm not sure this is the best build for it. I'm sure it should be more focused down one of the routes, either on the ninjutsu side, but I thought I'd mash them all together for this one for a little bit of fun. Like I say, let me know in the comments down below what you think I've missed, what you think should be in the deck. Let me know what you think of the deck. If you can think of any improvements for my videos, please let me know. I'm trying to make them better as I go along, and any feedback I get is greatly received. And hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. Come and check out YouTube again when my next video goes up. I'm seeing at the moment, I just had I recorded one earlier today, which you saw yesterday. This is today's one, and sometime in between the 4 hours I've been recording this in, I got another subscriber, so I've gone up to 183 now. So things are going in the right direction. But if you haven't subscribed before, please do so. And that's it for today. there's a link down below on Twitch. You can see me play this on Twitch sometime soon. And I'll be back very soon with another video. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.